Hey everyone, Miss GoElectric here. I am at New Lab in downtown Detroit, and today I'm going to visit Civilized Cycles. Now, I've already interviewed Zach at Civilized Cycles, and I've reviewed their Model 1, and you can check that out up here. But they're working on something new, and it's quite fascinating because this is going to be a semi-truck with bike components. Sounds a little strange, but we're gonna find out more. They're calling it the Semi Trike. So let's go inside and check out what Zach has cooking up. Zach,
Hey, how are
good
you?
to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Well, this looks a little bit different than when I saw you last. You look like you're in full workshop mode.
We are. We're in a really exciting time. We just are delivering our first bike to our semi-trike system, I should say, to Lime. And we have a couple more customer deliveries headed for this week that we're really excited about.
I mean, this semi-trike looks so unique, and you started off in the consumer realm with the Model 1, a great bike, but you have now shifted in this direction to offer more of a, I would say, commercial cargo application.
Yep.
So can you talk about the journey from getting to Model 1 to the semi-trike?
Sure. Well, when we developed the Model 1, we got all the patents for e-bikes for self-leveling air suspensions. And we knew there were two places in the world where self-leveling air suspensions are sort of dominant in the market already, and that was luxury cars and semi-trucks. We already kind of had the luxury car segment covered with the Model 1, so we thought it was a good time to pivot to the commercial side of things and take this technology and bring it to the commercial side where it has huge, huge benefits.
Well, talk about those benefits, because I think when we think of cargo bikes, it's not necessarily obvious, but the air suspension really makes it a game changer.
It does, because to date, most of the cargo bikes in the market, in fact, all the cargo bikes in the market, have started as a bicycle platform, typically with a rigid suspension, and then they strengthen it up to take the extra weight of cargo. But the fundamental challenge is that when you're moving along the road and you hit a bump, that's a kind of a collision. And the more weight you have, the more energy is in that collision, and there's sort of limits to how much you can do with that. And as you load a rigid-framed bicycle more and more, the safe operating speed just drops. And you start breaking things, you start breaking cargo, the brakes don't work. Large semi-trucks have the same challenge as bicycles, which is that compared to what they carry, they weigh very little. And they have the same issue of needing a suspension that works whether they're carrying a low load or a high load. And so we just take the same concept, bring it to the e-bike world, and it works beautifully there.
Well, so then talk a little bit about that, business model of appealing to a certain audience with this, because I could see a lot of different businesses benefiting from a product like this.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of, I think people, when they look at this, the initial reaction is Amazon and last mile package delivery for UPS and FedEx. And we think those are actually excellent applications for this. And there's a lot of evidence that it's economically very effective from Europe, where they've moved almost 20% of their last mile package delivery to bicycle platforms. That hasn't quite happened here yet because the European scale, design, and legal set hasn't produced a product that really works for the United States, but we think we have a good shot. However, those are elephants, and they may be difficult to kind of digest all at once. And we know there's already a huge market in the United States for low-speed delivery on campuses all over the country, whether it's military campuses, industrial campuses, hospital campuses, educational campuses, and a new breed of real estate development which is happening, which is pedestrian friendly. Any area that's pedestrian friendly, you don't want to bring in heavy trucks for delivering stuff, but you still need beer, you still need pizza, you still need all the other things in that community, but you don't want to bring heavy trucks in and out. And so as we shift to more cleaner and lighter forms of living and transport, this is going to be a natural fit. And I think there's a lot of market before package delivery that we can grow into. And then, of course, there's those huge whales, which are going to be great customers for us.
Of course. Now, I see, obviously, a trike application. So these are some of the prototypes that you have. Is that correct?
Yeah, these are really more sort of for pilot production or beta vehicles, something about that stage. These are going directly into the hands of customers for immediate testing and feedback. They are fully functional. They deliver on all of the promises of this system, of the safety, of the cargo capacity. Mostly what we need to do now is go through the kind of iterative process of durability testing, refinement, reducing the complexity of building them so that we can really hit the price targets that we want. This as a system should be able to deliver much of the value of a Ford Transit van for low-speed applications. The box van version can carry 200 cubic feet, 800 pounds, at about 15 miles an hour in total safety. And so that means for many, many types of fleets, there's a percentage of their fleet that can be converted to this type of use, and money can be saved by businesses, carbon can be saved by the planet, and we can all breathe better in our neighborhoods.
All right, so it sounds very interesting so far, but could you do a little walk around for me and kind of explain the design elements and what the capability truly is of this bike?
Sure.
Trike.
It is a trike. The reason it's a trike is because in the United States, that's what the law says is a bicycle. There is no actual quadricycle or four-wheel bicycle law in the United States except for New York City, where they recently are experimenting with some of this and passed a law for four wheels. The trike format has traditionally had a safety issue, which is that they tip over easily because of three wheels. And anyone who's ridden a tricycle as a kid has that experience. But much as kids who ride tricycles when they're kids have the experience that you learn to stand on the back axle and kick it, right? We took that same physics and applied it here, where we take the full weight of the trailer and we put it over the back axle. We put the battery and all the mechanical stuff over the back axle. And then we connect the trailer and the trike with a fifth wheel, not a regular hitch. So on a conventional car hitch, the trailer can move in any direction. On a tractor trailer, it can only move this way and this way. It does not allow any twist movement. So what that means is a loaded trailer makes the trike safer because it stabilizes the trike and keeps it flat on the ground. The whole system handles very, very safely, kind of like a car. And then wherever possible, we have taken components that are tried and proven high mileage components from automotive or trucking, like our air leveling valves are straight from the trucking industry. Our air compressor pump is from automotive. Wherever possible, we've designed it to be a high mileage commercial vehicle. Also, unlike our consumer bike, we've de-integrated it, right? Instead of putting everything together in a pretty package, we've made it super serviceable. And this means for our commercial clients that it's cheaper to work on, requires less training and labor for their mechanics to keep it in service, though as an electric, they don't need a lot of service. And we've built in some other cool tricks that people may not have thought of that make it particularly useful in urban environments where real estate is really expensive. So if you think New York City, you have a warehouse in New York City, you're probably paying $60 to $100 a square foot for that space. It's precious gold. So because of that, let me show on this one real quick. I'll just take it down. This is designed, one, to be manhandleable, so you don't need like a lot of people to be able to handle it. I can pick it up with one arm, and I'm not like a particular Hercules. That means that in a warehouse or a tight operating environment, you can just pick it up to move it.
Oh yeah, it snaps right in.
That snaps in. And this whole thing stands up for storage on end.
Oh, wow.
So this way, you can store one of these on 8 square feet and line them up in your warehouse, and then makes it much more cost-effective to own and operate a fleet.
How much does this frame weigh?
The frame by itself weighs about 40 pounds, so it's quite light.
Yeah.
It's all aluminum. We've taken, every pound that we can take out of the frame is a pound of stuff we can carry.
Yeah, payload.
And so we've tried to keep it very light. Also, you can see the advantages of that lightweight from a simple handling efficiency point of view. You don't need jacks, heavy equipment. You can just kind of pick it up and muscle it around, and that makes it just a handy thing to have when you're working.
Now, this is a pretty big battery pack that you have back here. It looks like almost 5 kilowatt hours.
Yep.
So can you talk about the decision to, this looks like a very encompassing one unit, and I see it's lithium iron phosphate. Can you talk about those decisions on integrating that type of battery?
So first, from a philosophy point of view, we actually wanted to be battery agnostic. So we wanted to create the biggest possible hole for a battery where we could put lots of different batteries, because we know that different operators are going to have different needs. There are some applications where they need a specific removable fast charging battery, many other applications where people do not need that kind of swappability and they just want a very cost-effective battery. We also wanted to eliminate safety concerns. So lithium iron phosphate batteries are extremely safe. There's really no fire risk at all with them. And they're economical. So we can meet the price points that our customers want.
So what kind of range are you getting out of a system like this when it doesn't have a load and when it has a payload?
So we are still in the early phases of physical testing, and we're hoping to get a lot of that data back from like Lime and such. And so that data is coming in on a calculated basis. This should be good for about 6 hours of continuous running. So the goal is to make it good for an 8-hour work shift. There are other battery options that we can go to, and there's a fast charger option for this that will charge it to a full charge in 3 hours.
Wow, that's pretty impressive for that size of a battery.
Yeah.
And also, what's kind of neat about this is that you have a lot of like bike components that you're used to integrating on a consumer bike, right? Yep. So I see the hydraulic brakes. You got very similar to what we saw on the Model 1. But can you talk about some of those advantages of being able to integrate those here too?
Yeah, I mean, the consumer bike side of things has done a great job of building low-cost, high-quality, waterproof components for handlebars, for wiring, and for the light-duty stuff that's on the front. There really is nothing else out there that's as good as e-bike componentry. So we use that where it makes sense. Where it makes less sense are the heavy wear, heavy impact, heavy load aspects, and there we've used stuff out of industrial equipment or trailer equipment, which is much more engineered for that type of application. So the advantages here is that it's buyable and serviceable and familiar and low cost. And we've tried to do that with the rest of the bike, but just from a different supply chain.
But this also has both a throttle and a pedal assistance. So can you talk about that decision? Because, maybe application-wise, it makes sense in different use cases to use one or the other.
Well, 100% for it to be a bicycle in the United States, it has to have functional pedals. So our pedals work and the bike drives on them. At the same time, a throttle is a very nice control. There are a handful of jurisdictions where they don't permit throttles. And so it's important to have a very good quality pedal control, which we do have. Based on our observational research of people operating commercial vehicles for 8 hours a day, pedaling is something people prefer not to do for 8 hours. And so we want to give them the option for being comfortable. We've tried to be very conscious of the user, not just the operator who's the business, but the person who's actually driving it. And we think this is a huge upgrade from any kind of bicycle platform. From a comfort point of view, we have a big, wide, comfortable seat that you can spend all day on. You have a very ergonomically friendly seating position that's reclined.
And adjustable. It looks like you can move the pedals and the handlebars.
Fully adjustable up and down on the handlebars, in and out on the handlebars. That's a steering column, so you can find your comfortable spot. We are awaiting the lever for the bottom pedals that will do exactly the same thing, where it's just a flip lever. You can slide them back and forth. And this particular setup we chose because it always keeps the rider in the same place. And that way, even if you have a really big, heavy rider, they're not upsetting the handling dynamics of the vehicle by putting their weight on the front wheel. It's the handlebars and vehicle that come to them. So regardless of whether it's a very small person or a big person riding, same level of safety, loaded or unloaded.
Now, as far as the trailer goes, how much can you tow with the trailer attached to it? And are you going to offer, say, like a cargo box that if you don't want to get a trailer, you don't need it, you can just put something on the back here? Because this looks like quite a bit of space already.
We have had requests for cargo boxes, and we're studying that. The way the system is built now is optimized for the trailer because of that combination of trailer trike stability. We would have to do some additional testing and safety research before we kind of authorize loads without the trailer, just because it makes such a difference to the overall platform. But what we will do is a huge variety of trailers. So there'll be flatbeds, van box trailers, dump trailers, side loaders, stake beds,
refrigerant, I'm sure, assuming is a good one.
Cold boxes, digital display trailers. The sky is now kind of the limit. If you can fit it in a 10x4 under 800-pound package, and you can imagine it, and needs 20 amps of power or less, we can build that on the trailer, and it will stay together because now, unlike a rigid trailer or the other stuff that's been in the bicycle world, again, the shock loads that we'll experience are now kind of in line with what cars and trucks already are accustomed to, and so stuff is already engineered for. Packages and electronics are already engineered for those shock loads. They're not engineered for the hard hit of a rigid suspension at 15 miles an hour into a curb. That's going to break things.
So as far as having this be a trike, a bike, and having the ability to bring it a lot of places that cars can't go, can you speak to on like the regulations and what this opens up as far as opportunity in that realm? Because there's a lot of restrictions, but when you get into the bike space, you don't have to have, registration. And so some of those things that people don't realize are cost savings.
We're really excited about this kind of secret sauce of like universal access, right? Because bicycles are the only platform they're allowed to drive pretty much anywhere. You can go on a public road. You can go in a bike lane. In many places, you're allowed on like campus-type sidewalks. Neighborhood electric vehicles, golf carts, they're not supposed to be in bike lanes. They're not really supposed to be on public roads, though they can be if they're neighborhood electric vehicles, but they're still locked out of bike lanes. Also, none of those are designed for commercial cargo purposes. They're designed as people carriers on golf courses, which is lawn, which is just a completely different application. So we think, there's a good niche for us there. Regulatorily, it also allows, there's no insurance requirement, though we always recommend people, get some kind of insurance. But it doesn't require a driver's license. And overall, because we're moving, the whole package is light. Like a fully loaded system is going to be less than 1,500 pounds. So from a liability and risk and management point of view, that's just much, much less energy than the larger platform vehicles. And that is just inherently safer because there's just less energy. So access everywhere, low cost of labor, and access to a wider community can drive it. And so I think there's a lot of ways that the bicycle class is really kind of a big opportunity.
Game changer.
Yeah, it's a real game changer. It's a real opportunity in a lot of different dimensions.
So as far as the timeline goes, where are you at and what else do you need in order to get there?
Well, these are our first 4 that we built. Well, there's actually 3 here. There's one already in New York, which is going to be shown to customers on Thursday. But we already have a waiting list longer than we have bikes, and mostly what we need now is more resources and partners to kind of go faster. So anyone who's interested in helping us do that, we're all ears.
Okay, and now you had spoke on a little bit about this Lime partnership, but can you kind of describe like what is the application here and how is it going to benefit them as a company to have a semi-trike?
Sure, so we're running a pilot here in Detroit with Lime where we have taken one of our flatbeds and converted it to be a Lime scooter carrier. It can carry 7 Lime scooters on the back and about 20 batteries in the underbox. So they are currently using this to rebalance their scooter fleet, pick up damaged scooters that need service, and change batteries out for their fleet. And they love it because they can suddenly bring the whole platform much closer to where the scooters actually are. When they're driving a gas-powered van, they can't drive it into Belle Isle. They can't drive into the park areas where scooters are often left. If they have a scooter that needs an aired-up tire, they have to bring it all the way back to the van. With our semi-trike, they actually just can disconnect the air system, put in an air chuck, air up their tires, put it back together, and drive away. So they really love the kind of on-site service aspect. And that turns into labor cost savings because they're more efficient in their operations, and then operational cost savings because what we're substituting is a gas-powered van that's going to cost $3,000 a month plus in lease, gas, depreciation, and insurance payments. So we've just begun this partnership, but so far they're very excited about it. And if it goes well, we hope to roll it out to cities all over the country.
Yeah, because I know I've seen plenty of Lime like vehicles that haul a trailer and they're moving. It just seems very counteractive to what they're trying to do as far as bringing more sustainable transport for people.
When we spoke to them, they as a company are extremely focused on their carbon emissions, but they have struggled to find alternatives that work. And they've experimented with a number of different bicycle platforms previously to try to use more bikes to service their bikes and scooters, but they haven't found a formula that has worked yet. But we think we're there.
Awesome. That is so cool to hear. So you're telling me that this works and you think that this is going to be a home run, but I think I need to try this.
I'm happy to have that. I will warn you, this one here, I haven't had a chance to reprogram. It's going to be very fast. We'll probably take some of the power of this one back down to the limit, but This one was running abnormally fast, so the flashing might not have worked. We'll
You
see.
said 15 miles per hour, but how fast does this one go? Is it?
Oh, it still goes 15, maybe 15.5 miles an hour, but it gets there now.
No, okay.
So here, let's pull this one out to the shop here. And what we can do for fun is we'll connect it to the trailer, and you can drive it truck style. Align that pin. Ramming speed.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
It's
cool.
hitched. Now I'm going to do the legs. Should we adjust the handlebars for you a little higher, a little lower? How's that feel?
No, I think that's great.
So release the
Well, there,
parking
yeah.
brake, and you should be good to go. Just remember to take wide corners because you're driving a semi.
I'm driving a semi. Oh yeah.
Your strong brakes are your left hand.
Okay. Trying it out. Wow. Oh yeah.
If you want to be serious here, we can just keep going. Go right out this tunnel. Cruise around outside. There is a reverse under your left hand. There's a little switch under the seat here.
Oh.
That's a reverse. This is an emergency kill switch, so if like it does anything weird and you're scared, just slap that. And this is a 2-speed shifter. This is a low gear, which is good for about 6.5 miles an hour, and this is good for about 15.
Wow.
That's for like climbing a granny,
Right.
super slope with a big load. All right, rock and roll.
Oh. It's adjusting the suspension for Zach. This is awesome.
Of course, when I said fast, I realized afterwards that you've driven things like Mustang Lightnings and, whoa, brakes.
It has good stopping power.
Oh yeah, it'll stop. We've done that with full load and it stops. Yeah, it's like, I was realizing she probably drives like a Plaid or like a Mustang Lightning or something, just.
Got a Rivian.
Oh, they're stupid fast. Now, we'll go right up this slope if you want.
Yeah.
You'll see it slows a little bit, but it's a pretty good hill.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's all you need.
Oh yeah,
That's all you need.
all you need. I like how they use the bike lanes as parking spots here.
I know.
So when he catches up, one of the cool tricks this thing can do is like a ridiculous U-turn.
Really?
Yeah. Take the tractor to 90 degrees. Yeah, there. Now go straight. It's quite a turn though, right? Like,
That's amazing. Wow. I'm surprised how well that can U-turn.
Line scooter driver for a day.
Well, Zach, that was pretty amazing to ride around what I thought was going to be super heavy and cumbersome, but surprisingly very easily to ride around, and especially with this trailer. I was so impressed.
I'm glad you found it easy because our goal is to make it as easy to ride as possible so the widest number of people can do it.
Well, thank you so much, Zach, for letting us explore a little bit more about the semi-trike that you have been working on.
It's my pleasure.
We really appreciate it. Well, thank you guys for watching this latest video. And if you're interested in finding out more or learning how you can be involved with Civilized Cycles and what they're doing here, then see the links in the description below. But until next time, drive, fly, ride. Go electric.
Thank you.